Thank you to Ysbryd Games for providing me with a review code. This isn't usually my style, but I decided to make a short impressions video on Necrosoft's Demonschool. The full review will come later, but since I was given a review code, I thought it would be good to share my early thoughts. Both things that stood out in a positive way, and a few things that confused me a little. So without further ado, here are my early impressions. I'm several hours in, and so far I gotta say, this game is a vibe. The style, graphics and music are spot on. I quite enjoy just hanging out in the game. So, what is it, and what's the game about? You play as Faye, a descendant of a line of demon hunters who's convinced that the apocalypse is nigh, and believes she can only prevent it by going to Hemsk Island and stopping the demons there from reaching the barriers to our world, all while enrolling in college at the same time. Gameplay and style-wise, it's clearly inspired by Persona. You're given a calendar system, you go to school, develop friendships, and fight the occasional demon along the way. It's far less strict in the time management aspect than Persona, and there aren't any personal stats that you can level up. In fact, there are no experience points or leveling at all. But more on that later. Something that immediately came as a surprise to me was that apparently the other students or people in town are unaware that demons haunt the island. I kinda thought this was going to be about young adults enrolling in a college that specializes in demons or demonology and teaches them how to fight them. But no, whenever Faye brings up demons, her peers just think she's crazy. And to be fair, she kinda is. In any case, she makes friends who help her fight the demonic threat while also fulfilling strange tasks given by their ominous teacher, Professor Vincent. It doesn't take long to realize that this game is not taking itself seriously at all. And all in all, it is rather silly. The story is silly, the characters are silly, the dialogue is completely silly, and every NPC on the island has something silly to say. There are a bunch of questions that I had very early on, and I'm not sure these questions are even meant to have an answer. Like, what are Faye and the others even studying? It's clear that Professor Vincent knows of Faye's abilities to battle demons, and thus gives her very ludicrous tasks like finding and destroying a cursed VHS tape. But what class is he teaching exactly? What do the other students do? Am I missing something? And where the heck do we sleep? So far, I've never seen our dorm, which is a bit sad, honestly, since I find knowing where I live and what my room looks like is kind of essential for immersion in these type of games. Ah well, maybe we'll see it later in the game. What is also kind of strange is that combat takes place in a realm between our world and the demonic one, and all battles end with you sealing away the demons. However, the first enemies we fight are just regular dudes who explode in fountains of blood when you defeat them. But once the battle is over, they're just like, fine, we give up. But I suppose this just adds to the overall silliness and weirdness. The combat is fantastic, and I've never seen anything quite like it. It's a turn-based strategy game, but the way it works, I think the closest comparison I can make is, do you know those chess puzzles where you have to checkmate the opponent in a set amount of moves under specific circumstances? The combat system feels kinda like that. The difference being that all your characters have unique abilities. There is a focus on combos and lining up enemies, and there doesn't seem to be a limit on how many turns you have to beat the enemy. Apart from there being a grade for how many turns you needed and how many of your teammates have kicked the bucket. It's really cool, but man is it hard. I actually feel kinda dumb fighting the demons in this game because of how often I have to restart the battles. But they're fun. As I said before, there is no leveling in the game, and there are no weapons or armor either. But there are perks you can unlock by studying and equip your characters with, making your encounters with the demonic threat easier. The aforementioned silly tone, however, might not be for everyone. I can see how people might get a bit frustrated by the constant quips and jokes at all times, but I, for my part, am enjoying the characters and dialogue quite a bit. And combat might show up a tiny bit too often, but we'll see how that changes over the course of the game. But I am looking forward to playing a lot more of it, hanging out with Faye, Namako and the others, and seeing what mysteries lurk beneath Hemsk Island. I'll make a video review once I have finished the game. Until then, I'd be curious to hear if you've played it already and how you feel about it. Please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.